22. Veronica Benning. Veronica was hired as Tony Stark's physiotherapist to guide him through his recovery after a spinal surgery, helping him regain mobility and strength. Their professional relationship soon deepened as they spent countless hours together, sharing both small victories and personal stories. Stark found comfort and companionship in Veronica, who became someone he could lean on in a way he rarely allowed. But their connection was suddenly shattered. Stark's systems were hijacked by a rogue computer virus named Vor/Tex, which took full control of his body and clouded his mind. Under Vor/Tex's influence, Stark became erratic, impulsively drinking and lashing out. One evening, in a haze, he treated Veronica with uncharacteristic rudeness. Unaware that he was no longer himself, Veronica was left heartbroken, believing that Tony had turned on her. Unable to stay, she quietly left, ending a relationship that had once brought both of them solace. When Stark finally broke free from the virus's grip, he was devastated to realize the cost. He had lost one of the few people who truly understood him. 21. Janice Cord. Drexel Cord's daughter grew up in a world of wealth and rivalry, especially when it came to Stark Industries. Forbidden by her father from dating Tony Stark, she carried that family feud with a sense of duty. Yet after her father's sudden death, and with her new role as CEO of Cord Conglomerate, those boundaries blurred. She and Tony met on equal footing, their chemistry undeniable, and soon their mutual respect grew into something deeper. Together, they found in each other a kindred spirit that brought peace to the corporate rivalries surrounding them. Tragically, their time together was brief. During a fierce confrontation with Titanium Man and Crimson Dynamo 3, she was mortally wounded, her injuries beyond repair. In Iron Man's arms, she took her final breaths, her eyes filled with gratitude and love. She passed away, never realizing the man holding her was, in fact, Tony Stark. For Tony, it was a heartbreaking reminder of the cost of his dual identity and the sacrifices he bore to protect those he cared for. 20. Idris Mumji. At one of the lowest points in Tony Stark's life, he met Idris Mumji, a captivating woman who seemed to offer the stability and warmth he desperately needed. But this was no chance romance. Obadiah Stane, a ruthless rival known as Ironmonger, had a plot to crush Tony entirely and take over Stark International, and Idris was a key part of his twisted plan. Playing her role perfectly, she manipulated Tony, gaining his trust and affection, only to shatter his heart with an abrupt and cruel rejection. For Tony, who had already been on the edge, the emotional blow was devastating. In the wake of the betrayal, he found himself turning once again to alcohol, his coping mechanism of old. Stane's plan had done more than damage Stark's company. It exploited his most vulnerable moment, pushing Tony down a path he'd worked so hard to escape. 19. Maria Hill. Tony Stark and Maria Hill find themselves grappling with a bleak outlook on the state of the world, leading to an uncharacteristic moment of vulnerability. They share a night together, but come morning, Maria wakes alone in Tony's armory. Stark has disappeared, leaving her with nothing but a hastily scrawled note that reads, "Blow it up, run like hell." The scene underscores both Tony's dark sense of humor and his pragmatic, if somewhat reckless, approach to handling threats, always ready to burn it all down to protect what matters. 18. Callista Hancock. After Tony Stark's reputation was tarnished by Tiberius Stone, he made a radical decision. He handed over his fortune to the Maria Stark Foundation and left his old life behind. Adopting the alias Hogan Potts, he started anew, joining a company named Askew Electronics as a regular employee. His new boss, Callista, was initially distant, treating Hogan like any other hire. However, after a devastating bombing of the company building and the subsequent bankruptcy, the tension between them finally broke. Callista confessed her growing attraction, leading to a brief romance. But things unraveled when Callista discovered Tony's deception, that he wasn't who he claimed to be. Furious and feeling betrayed, she left, cutting ties with him completely, and was never seen again. 17. The Wasp. Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne, known as the Wasp, found themselves drawn together after her marriage to Hank Pym ended. As two of the Avengers' founding members, They quickly bonded over their shared experiences and unique understanding of the superhero life. But their romance was short-lived. After Captain America warned Tony that their relationship might deeply hurt Hank, and after Tony revealed his identity to Janet, things began to fall apart. Despite the fallout, time seemed to heal old wounds, and recently, the duo rekindled their relationship, giving their dynamic partnership another chance. 16. Dr. Sue Neen, one of the world's foremost neurologists, took on the challenge of helping Tony Stark regain his mobility after his devastating spine injury. During their time together, a deep connection grew, and they found themselves falling in love. However, Neen soon ended the relationship, revealing that she was married and deeply committed to staying faithful to her husband. Despite the romantic tension, they maintained a strong bond, and she and Tony remained good friends. 15. Justine Hammer. In the Ultimate Comic storyline, Tony Stark collaborated with Justine Hammer, daughter of his business rival Justin Hammer, in a mission to recover all Stark tech scattered across New York after its devastation. As they worked closely, their partnership became romantic. However, Tony soon discovered that Justine was secretly aligned with his grandfather, Howard Stark Sr., the mastermind behind the tech thefts. To stop Howard's dangerous plans, Tony was forced to activate a powerful device known as Remnant 242. Tragically, this action deactivated the nanites, keeping Justine alive, leading to the deaths of both his deranged grandfather and Justine in a heart-wrenching end. 14. Bethany Cabe. Originally hired as Tony Stark's bodyguard, Bethany Cabe quickly became more than just security. As she grew closer to Stark, she felt frustration with Iron Man, Stark's supposed protector, who always seemed absent during critical moments. Over time, her suspicions deepened, and she uncovered Stark's dual identity as Iron Man, a revelation that brought them even closer. Bethany played a crucial role in Stark's life, especially in his battle against alcoholism. She became not only his confidant and lover, but also a grounding force, helping him through his darkest moments. For a time, it seemed they were perfectly matched, with Stark finally finding a partner who truly understood him. However, their relationship took a heartbreaking turn when Bethany discovered that her husband, Alex von Tilburg, whom she had believed dead, was still alive in Germany. Torn by this revelation, Bethany parted ways with Stark, leaving a void that even his armor couldn't shield. 13. Black Widow. Tony Stark's heart was captivated by Natasha Romanoff during her time as a spy for the Russian government. Their chemistry was undeniable, but the weight of her secret life soon cast a shadow over their burgeoning romance, leading to a painful breakup when Tony discovered her true profession. Yet, fate had other plans. Natasha defected to the United States and ultimately joined the ranks of the Avengers. As Black Widow, Natasha evolved from a potential love interest into a trusted comrade and fierce ally to Tony. Their bond deepened during a perilous mission in Russia, where they found themselves battling the formidable Titanium Man amidst the chaos. Old feelings began to resurface, igniting a spark that hinted at what might have been. However, the complexities of their past and present prevented their relationship from moving forward. Despite the brief rekindling of romance, they remained steadfast friends and allies. Natasha supported Tony during the turbulent events of the First Civil War, solidifying their connection as more than just teammates, but as individuals who understood the burdens of their respective lives. 12. Joanna Nivina. Joanna was once the bright light in Tony Stark's life, his fiancée, filled with dreams for their future together. But everything changed when Tony was injured in Vietnam, leaving him with a metal chest plate to stay alive. When he returned, a shell of the man he once was, he struggled with his health and the overwhelming reality of his situation. In a moment of despair, he made the heartbreaking decision to break off their engagement, believing Joanna deserved better than the life he could offer. He left her without an explanation, hoping to spare her from his pain. Years later, fate brought them together again, allowing Tony to confront the past. With newfound strength, he explained everything, the accident and the reasons behind his choice. Their connection rekindled into a deep friendship, offering Tony the closure he desperately needed. Now happily married with children, Joanna embraced their renewed bond with warmth and understanding. 11. Bree Daniels. Bree entered Tony Stark's life with charm and glamour, captivating him in the vibrant Hollywood scene. Their romance seemed promising, but Tony soon discovered her true intentions. Beneath her alluring exterior, Bree was an opportunist who used Tony to network with influential figures in the industry. Once she achieved her career goals, she abandoned him without a second thought. Heartbroken and feeling used, Tony learned a painful lesson about love. True connection should be built on mutual respect and authenticity, not ambition and convenience. 10. Madame Mask. Tony Stark found himself captivated by Madame Mask, drawn to her despite the disfiguring scars that marked her face. Their connection ran deep, transcending appearances and steeped in a shared understanding of pain and struggle. Yet, their relationship was shrouded in secrecy, complicated by her ties to the Maggia crime cartel. The public perception was skewed. They saw her as Iron Man's girlfriend, not realizing the truth behind Tony's hidden feelings. Tragedy struck when an unfortunate incident led Iron Man to inadvertently cause the death of Madame Mask's father. This devastating loss shattered their bond, pushing her back into the shadows of her criminal past. Betrayed and furious, she turned against Tony, and their once passionate love turned into a bitter enmity. 9. Rumiko Fujikawa. Rumiko Fujikawa, daughter of Kinjiro Fujikawa, began dating Tony Stark after his return from presumed death, partly as an act of rebellion against her parents. While she enjoyed the relationship, Tony's busy schedule often left her feeling ignored. After their breakup, Rumiko slept with Tony's rival, Tiberius Stone, which filled her with regret. To make amends, she helped Tony regain control of his company, hoping to atone for her choices and restore their friendship. 8. Sunset Bane. Tony Stark's affair with Sunset started while he was still a student, but she insisted on keeping their relationship under wraps, citing their age difference as the reason. Eager to impress her and prove his worth, Tony foolishly handed over his father's security codes to her, thinking it would solidify their bond. However, shortly after this breach of trust, masked assailants invaded Stark Industries, making off with a significant number of prototypes. As the chaos unfolded, Tony found himself abruptly dumped by Sunset, who it turned out had been using him all along. Soon after their split, she launched her own company, Banetronics, leaving Tony to pick up the pieces from both the attack and the betrayal. 7. Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts is arguably the most recognized of Iron Man's romantic partners, largely thanks to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, comic book fans might be surprised to learn that Tony Stark and Pepper's romance didn't last in the comics. While they shared a close relationship, Pepper ultimately married Happy Hogan, putting a damper on her romantic connection with Tony. Although Pepper later developed renewed feelings for Stark, they chose to keep just friends, continuing to work together as close colleagues. 6. Kathy Dare. When Tony Stark met Kathy, he was upfront about his lack of interest in a monogamous relationship. Initially, she claimed to be fine with it, but as time passed, her jealousy and possessiveness intensified. Eventually, Stark decided to end the relationship, unable to tolerate her behavior. In a fit of rage, Kathy shot Stark, the bullet piercing his spine and leaving him temporarily crippled. Overwhelmed by guilt for her actions, Kathy ultimately took her own life. 5. Meredith McCall. McCall was Tony Stark's first love, and their teenage romance faced challenges due to their father's fierce business rivalry. To keep them apart, their families sent them to separate colleges. Years later, Tony, in his Iron Man persona, saved Meredith's life, but the reunion took a bittersweet turn when he learned she was married, leaving their past feelings unresolved. 4. Anna Way. Tony Stark found himself in a dire situation, stripped of his armor and trapped without identification in one of the grueling work camps of the Sarawak Republic. As he struggled to figure a way out, fate intervened in the form of Anna Way, a local woman with her own story of resilience. She had noticed Tony's bravery firsthand when he saved her son from a street gang, and in an act of gratitude, she took him in, offering refuge in her modest home. At first, both were cautious. Tony, accustomed to walls of secrecy, and Anna, uncertain of who she was helping. But slowly, through late-night conversations and shared meals, trust blossomed between them. Anna became his ally, aiding him in the search for his armor and understanding his hidden vulnerability. In return, Tony helped her find the courage to confront a local gangster who had been terrorizing her. Their connection grew deeper, culminating in a brief but sincere romance. Yet they both knew their lives were worlds apart. When the time came for Tony to leave, they parted on friendly terms, and he offered her a position at one of his companies in San Francisco. 3. She-Hulk. Tony Stark and Jennifer Walters, famously known as She-Hulk, shared a lively and lighthearted relationship based on mutual attraction and spontaneity. Rather than diving into a serious romance, the two indulged in casual, off-and-on flings. For Tony, it was another enjoyable connection in his long line of romantic entanglements. For Jennifer, it was a chance to have fun on her own terms. What stood out about their relationship, however, was the contrast in how the world saw their romantic freedom. Tony's escapades were often celebrated as part of his playboy charm, while Jennifer faced far more judgment for enjoying her independence. This hypocrisy cast a revealing spotlight on society's double standards, as Jennifer's choices were held to a different standard simply because she was a woman. 2. Hellcat. Patsy Walker, better known as Hellcat, is one of Iron Man's more recent romantic interests. Tony and Patsy have known each other for years as friends and fellow Avengers. But it wasn't until he recruited her to help a team of heroes defeat Korvac that their relationship took a deeper turn. Through the intensity of that fight, they grew close, and Tony even proposed to her. Patsy, however, declined, feeling that marriage wasn't the right path for her. 1. Gamora. Yes, apparently our friend Tony seems to have a thing for green-skinned girls. The two shared a rather strange moment, if we can put it that way, since we don't know exactly what happened during their intimate encounter. But judging by Tony's expression, it was clearly an unusual experience. And that's the video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to watch more videos that will appear on the screen right now. See you later.